What's going on, guys? CTG Matt back. I want to talk about MLB today. I want to talk about free agency specifically now that the Dodgers have won the World Series and nobody's happy about it. Besides Dodgers fans, of course. They're really happy. Everyone else in the world, two thumbs down. So the only way to really make us feel better is to talk about free agency. Hey, maybe your team makes a move and finishes in second place behind the Dodgers this year. Who knows? One big signing can keep your team away from losing to the Dodgers in the World Series. I keep making too many Dodgers jokes. I want to talk about free agents, free agency, moving my head out of the way. And what's a better way to do that than to pull up the entire free agency class? MLB.com made this list. And we're going to go positionally. I'm going to make some predictions as to who's going to sign where. And also, I'm going to detail some of these players and kind of tell you what to expect from them. Like, subscribe if you're new. I make basketball content. I make baseball content. I upload what I want. All right, catchers. We got JT Realmuto. Now, he's aging. He's 35 years old. For a catcher, you might as well be 50 once you hit 35. 4-WAR season is pretty damn good. However, everything seemed to decline last season, as it always does with age. His speed element is still there to an extent. He's one of the faster catchers still. Not elite speed like it used to be. He's not elite defensively like he used to be for sure. And then hitting, he's like average to a solid above average hitter. I do just think he's going to go back to the Phillies, though. I think there's no reason for the Phillies not to bring him back. I mean, he's been consistently decent. You have, what's his name, Rafael Marchand. I think he's still going to be there. You need to develop someone else. You need to have a plan for the future because JT will not be there soon. But as for now, I think you could just string him along on one-year deals until he decides he doesn't want to play anymore. If some team offers him a multi-year deal, more power to them. But it's a real risk for a 35, 36-year-old catcher who's coming off of not a down year, kind of a down year comparatively to the rest of his year, but not a great year for JT Realmuto's standards. But of course, he's 35. Next up, we got Salve. Big Salve does the same thing every year. He mashes. He doesn't play great defense, but he's going to plug like 25 to 35 home runs a year, it feels like. Not sure how many he finished with this year, but I bet it was over 20. He got hot later in the season. He was very unlucky to start the year. He's obviously not a real catcher. You know, if you're a Royals fan, you know that. You had Freddie Fermin back there for a reason. Like, Salve's not a great catcher, but you can get first base production out of him in a solid DH. He hits off speed really well. Everyone loves Salve Perez, but again, similar to JT Realmuto, that age number is definitely a little bit scary. There's a club option. I don't even expect him to hit free agency. It's Salvador Perez. He's a Royals Hall of Famer pretty damn easily. He's the best catcher in Royals history pretty damn easily. He's a great player. One of the all-time greats for the Royals, even though Ward doesn't love him. But either way, it's Salvador Perez. He's going to be a Royal until he's done, I'd bet. Caratini had a really good year in Houston, I believe it was. Yeah, it was in Houston. He had above-average hitting season, backing up Yainer Diaz, and he played decent enough defense. He's a good backup catcher option. Victor Caratini's bounced around the league for a good little bit now. But I think he can really be a decent backup catcher option for a team that just needs somebody to fill the void if you don't have a backup catcher. Or if a team just needs a veteran presence, I guess. I don't know. I think someone like, maybe like the Twins take a shot on him because the Twins are without Christian Vasquez, obviously, and you just need someone to run, just fill the void, just get behind the plate, essentially. That's what the Twins specifically need. I could see not many teams taking a great look at Victor Caratini, but if you need a backup catcher, if you already have a solid starter, I don't know if like Ben Rortvet's going, but like if your backup for Will Smith is Victor Caratini, I think you're in a decent spot. Danny Jansen, he's had down year after down year. He had one really good hitting season. After that, it's kind of gone downhill. I'm not a big Danny Jansen guy. That move to the Rays I thought would really save him, and it didn't. It didn't. That's all I'm going to say. Christian Vasquez is old and bad. James McChicken, pretty terrible. Elias Diaz, also pretty terrible. I mean, it's incredible Elias Diaz got the amount of leash he did with the Padres. Incredible he got as much run as he did. He was bottom barrel terrible, and they let him just go. Gary is 33 now. Oh, my God. Oh, that one hurts. I didn't realize he was 33 now. That's interesting. He's a hitter. He's a DH. He can catch a little bit, maybe. Like, he's got a good arm still. But you're mainly calling on him for power numbers. If he's healthy for a full year, which he was not last year, Gary's a 20-homer guy, it feels like, 20-plus homers. There's some value there, you know. Mitch Garver, not great. Luke Maile, Tom Murphy. Tom Murphy is a club option? What team is he on? I don't even know. And Machete retired. That's sad. First baseman. First baseman is an interesting group. Pete Alonso has to be the Mets' top priority. And I'm assuming he's going to opt out. They said he can opt out. I'm assuming he would. He probably wants something more long-term, and it's reasonable. He's a guy who's been 30-plus homers basically every year of his career, 100-plus RBIs every year of his career. I mean, he had, I think he might have had a career-high RBIs this year. It was close. He had over 100, I'm pretty sure. He's just consistent. He's a traditional first baseman through and through. Sure, he's not the best in terms of fielding the ball, but he's a Hoover vacuum when it comes to picking the ball, you know, short hops and stuff like that. He's great with that stuff. And of course, 5.64, like Pete Alonso's main attraction is the fact that he hits the ball hard, far, and often. If I'm Pete Alonso, I'm opting out. I'd probably try and re-sign with the Mets because he's had so much success there over a long tenure. I mean, he took, Hojo's record for home runs or something like that. Like, he's well on his way to being the best hitter in Mets history. He's pretty damn close to it record-wise. And I want something more long-term if I'm him, because it feels disrespectful to string me along on 1- and 2-year deals when I've given you the production I have over the years. Pete Alonso's got to be priority number 1 for the Mets. Josh Naylor is super confusing. It depends on what player you're getting. Cleveland tried to morph him into a power hitter, a lower average power hitter. That worked out okay, but then he goes to Seattle. Seattle's like, screw the power hitting, just do contact, hit high 200s, 290s area, and swipe bags, I guess, was on the checklist. Swiping bags, he had 30 plus this year, I think. He had 20 plus, definitely. I know he was like 20 for 20 as a Mariner alone. I like Josh Naylor. He's worse fielding than Pete Alonso, I would say. He's not the best fielder. But if you're, again, this is a guy who can hit for power, he can hit for contact, and on top of that, he swipes bases, I guess, now. It's a weird player mold. Josh Naylor is one of the wildest player molds I've ever seen. He's very slow. Bottom 10 percentile in sprint speed if I had to bet, right? But he swipes bags, which proves base running's all about A, timing, and B, the pitcher more than the catcher. And C, he can play contact. He can hit 300. It's an interesting player. The Mariners need him back, I would say. This is another one where it's like, this got to be paramount on the Mariners list of things that they want. Josh Naylor came up big time and time again in their CS run. He had a big home run in game 2 or something like that. He had a couple of big hits, bunch of RBI spots. Josh Naylor was really good. He can hit for power, he can hit for contact. The only thing he can't do is really play defense that much, but first base defense isn't always the most prioritized thing. Ryan O'Hearn is a hell of a platoon bat. If he faces righties the whole time, if you just give him opportunities to just see righties, Ryan O'Hearn can get the job done. I know he wasn't the best in San Diego, but in Baltimore he did damage. A lot of damage, and he can play corner outfield too if you really need him to, which is a plus. He's not as bad defensively as I thought he was. He's obviously not a platinum glover, but like Ryan O'Hearn can get the job done as a platoon guy. You let him face righties, you let him mash righties full time, and you're gonna get a really good year, a solid 120. I'd bet his OPS plus this year was in the 20s, at 120s at least. Yeah, on the season it was 125. 105 with the Padres. Like I said, I know he wasn't his best self with the Padres, but he was still relatively productive. I mean, 6 doubles, 4 homers. It's not great. The on base was lower, but it's not a bad year regardless. And I like Ryan O'Hearn a lot, and I think if you can platoon him with another good first baseman, like Baltimore did, him and Mountcastle first base platoon was great. Of course, that team stunk though. It wasn't Ryan O'Hearn's fault at all. They sucked. But Ryan O'Hearn is a really, really good player. I like Ryan O'Hearn a lot. I could see a lot of teams giving him a flyer. If you got a righty first baseman, maybe like Detroit, maybe. Because you think about it, they got Torkelson, the righty first baseman, and I really like Spencer Torkelson. But if you can get another lefty in there to get more at-bats against righties, I don't think it would do you any wrong. But you do have Kerry Carpenter and Riley Green. Your two best hitters are already lefties. So I don't know if you want to invest more in left-handers, but it's just a thought. Just a thought. Because if you have a hard-hitting, right-handed hitter, and you can pair him with Ryan O'Hearn, a great left-hitting power hitter, guess what? The more the merrier when it comes to hitting. Carlos Santana is interesting. He's 40. He didn't have a great year. Not a great year by his standards. The Guardians let him go. That's how bad he was with the Guardians. Like, it was a weird year for Slam Tana. He's been a Gold Glove candidate for basically his whole career. And then last year, the wheels just came off. I mean, he still puts up 3.2 WAR, and I say the wheels fell off. You know what I mean? But for his standards, he is 40 and played subpar last year. So it definitely is a little bit more worrisome signing a Carlos Santana. It feels like he's more of like a bridge first baseman than an actual starter nowadays. Luis Arraez. This is a player that's polar as all can be on social media, whatever. Anywhere you go, you talk about Luis Arraez. You're either going to find people that love him and think he's the greatest contact hitter of this generation, which he might be, and he's better. He's up there with the Gwynns of the world. And then you have the more realistic ones that are like, this guy only slaps singles and he's the worst defender I've ever seen in my life, which is just true. He's so polarizing, but there is a middle ground in there where it's like he's a good singles hitter. He didn't play well in RBI spots though. The thought of put him in a cleanup spot and let him do the singles thing in like the 4 spot, basically get guys on in front of him so that way when he does hit the single, it's scoring runs because he has a higher likelihood of getting a hit than other guys. Understandable. I don't think he did very well in those spots though. He worked a lot better when he was at the top of the order, which doesn't really help his case in anything because he's not fast. Do you want your one hitter, if he gets on base, if he gets a hit 31% of the time, he hits 310, right? But he sucks at base running. Like, he's slow, he doesn't steal, he has no base running IQ, he's not a great base runner. How much value is it for him to hit a single? You know, you basically have to bank on something to the gap for him to even come close to scoring. It's just hard to balance the Luis Arraez spectrum because, like I said, he's a really good contact hitter. What else does he bring to the table? Close to nothing. Paul Goldschmidt, fine. He hit lefties. I could see the Yankees stringing him along and trying to bring him back again because he did hit lefties relatively well. Ben Rice isn't a great technical first baseman. Goldie's still a good enough defender. Hoover vacuum for scoops. He did a dang good job being kind of the backup to Ben Rice down the stretch. We have Rhys Hoskins, who's bad. Justin Turner, who's 42 next season. I don't know if where he's going to be going. Donnie Barrels had some fun run last year. Donnie Barrels has some fun run wherever he goes. He gets picked up around midseason every year, and he clubs it for a few games, and then he goes right back down to being normal Donnie Barrels. Josh Bell had a power surge at the end of the year. I think everyone's so out on Josh Bell. Ty France, not great. Lamont Wade, not great. Rowdy Tellez had some fun run with the Rangers down the stretch, but I don't think it was good enough to really say he's the penciled-in first baseman for next year for the Rangers. Not that good. And then Wilmer, who he puts in a lot of RBIs. He hits tanks, but he runs probably slower than, like, I don't know, the average whale could. And whales don't have legs. I did not realize Gleyber, my glorious Gleyber, was a free agent. That's interesting because the Tigers definitely needed his production. 4.5 WAR is more than I expected for Gleyber Torres. He's only 29 years old. He probably wants something more long-term, but I would not give him anything more than 4 years, really. Maybe 5 you can justify, but his defense is still pretty damn rough at second base. He still has his strikeout flare-up issues, but he is a good single slapper. He gets to the ball really well. Like, he has a great way of going inside out on his swing. He loves flaring to the right field Gleyber's good when he's working well. Gleyber is a fun player to watch. But when his bat starts to fall off a little bit, you start to notice the defense isn't great. The base running is bottom barrel. He is an awful base runner. He graded out negatively, I'm pretty sure, in Detroit last year too. So that's numerous seasons now of him being a bad base runner is what it is there. And then I think the Tigers just need to have him back though, because like Colt Keith has not given you any reason to really believe in him. And I just don't see anyone really filling in that second base spot if he were to just leave. Brandon Lau, club option, should be back. I'm surprised they didn't try to move him during the trade deadline, but maybe that happens this offseason. Nobody knows what the Rays are doing, though. They sell, but they buy at the same time. The Rays are a weirdly run organization right now, specifically. And Brandon Lau had a really good year last year. Of course, he's not a great defender, but he hits tanks. That's what Brandon Lau brings to the table. He's three true outcomes second baseman. I was going to say walk, strikes out, and hits home runs. Yeah, that's three true outcomes, but for second baseman, it's a weird archetype, but I love me some Brandon Lau. Don't look at his playoff numbers, though. Willie Castro accumulated basically all of his WAR with the Twins. He was not good as a Cub. That was rough to see, because I love me some Willie Castro. A nice switch hitting, a switch hitter who can play utility, a utility switch hitter. You don't see that very often. It's a unique archetype, and he plays decent defense. I'm a fan of Willie Castro, but he struggled with the Cubs, obviously. He can play anywhere. He's not just a second baseman. I'm pretty sure he's played outfield before. Jorge Polanco, probably back to the Mariners. Player option. He's 32. He had an all right year, but I don't think he'd cash out and get something bigger if he hit free agency. Yeah, he had a decent playoff run, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it was the playoff run that basically says, like, yep, he earned a bag there. It wasn't a Vladdy-type playoff run, even though Vladdy already got his bag. You know what I mean. If Vladdy didn't get that bag and he was going to hit free agency this year and he had that playoff run, he would get a lot more than $500 million. You know what I mean? Jorge Polanco, though, is a fine player. A fine player who a lot of teams would like. A switch hitter, hits for power, and has a fine enough glove, I would say. Ozzy Albies, I don't know what to do with him. He's such a weird player. He's had great years. Last year was not a great year. It was actually a really bad year. Ozzy Albies has been one of the weirder players over the last few years because when he pops, he explodes. He had 30 home runs and like 100 RBIs just in 2 years ago, I think it was, right? And now last year, in 2026 or 2025, we're looking at him and going, I don't know, what does he provide? I don't know. Jose Iglesias, if you need a fill-in backup, that's fun. Dylan Moore is an option, another Mariners legend. Rengifo struggled last year, but he had high highs 2 years ago. Not 2025, but 2024. He had a pretty decent season. Ahmed Rosario is a good fill-in, kills lefties. Nicky Lopez, Brendan Rodgers. These are not great players. I can't lie. Coco Montez, a team does not pop into my head when I think of who Coco Montez is, but that is a hell of a name, I'll tell you that much. And how is Kevin Biggio even getting MLB jobs at this point? I don't know. This shit must be F4 or something because Miguel Rojas did not have a 4.5 WAR season. I'm pretty sure I checked Baseball Reference after he hit the home run and he had like a 2 WAR season. So this must be F4. I'm a B WAR guy because I'm lazy. But Miguel Rojas is probably just going to stay with the Dodgers. He hit, I mean, you could argue, what was the more clutch home run? It has to be Rojas's. I was going to say Rojas's in Game 7 or Freddie's in Game 1 last year. It would have to be Miguel Rojas's home run because they were down 4-3 in the ninth. They had like 2 outs left. I don't know how to feel about that home run still now because I didn't want to see the Blue Jays win. I didn't. I am a Yankees fan through and through. I hate watching the Blue Jays succeed. So in a sense, I was rooting for the Dodgers, but in the other sense, I'm like, I don't know, man. I can't root for the team that won last year, and they're about to repeat, and they might three-peat, and who the hell knows? It was a really difficult World Series for me. But Miggy row your boat will probably just stay with the Dodgers. Bo Bichette, is he a shortstop? I don't think so. I don't think he can play shortstop for a full year. Like, it's just, I don't think he can. He's not as fast as you would like. He has always graded out as a pretty bad defender, except for like 2023. I think he graded out well. Bo Bichette is a weird player. If you can get him at second base or third base, Bo Bichette can provide value. He's a 300 hitter. He's a guy who leads the league in hits when he's healthy. Basically, whenever he's playing 150 plus games, he's probably going to lead the league in hits. Also, he's good at but also he hits gaps really well. He's really good at hitting to the gap and getting doubles. Like, he's a good hitter. Bo Bichette is a great pure hitter. I remember when he first came in, he used to take war hacks. Every time he came up, it was war hacks. His helmet was flying off on every swing. And now it's like he's just a really good contact hitter. You know, he's a 300 guy every year. I like Bo Bichette a little bit. I don't think he's a shortstop, though, but if you can get him at second or third, I think you can really make it work. Like, if the Blue Jays were to bring back Bo, would they still be like starting shortstop as you? Because Andres Jimenez worked out very well for them at shortstop. He looked really good in the playoffs at short at times. I'm not sure what they would do. They had him at second base, but that's because Bo was still hurting. I don't know. Would you, Blue Jays fans, if Bo Bichette comes back, would you still be like, yeah, that Bo is our full-time shortstop, even though we saw Andres Jimenez do relatively well there and Bo did all right at second base? I don't know. How are we feeling about that? Trevor Story can opt out. Trevor Story had a really good year. He had like 25 homers, 20 plus. I think he had a 2020 season, 20 plus homers, 20 plus stolen bases. He played all right enough defense. His health was there. He was healthy, which is a rare thing for Trevor Story, it feels like. I really like Trevor Story. He's a power guy, power speed combo that plays all right enough at short. He strikes out a ton. That's what you're going to get with Trevor Story, but that's still a fine player. Ha-Sung Kim looked really good with the Braves. If I was the Braves, I'd try and keep him. I don't mind Ha-Sung Kim. He's a really good defender and a decent contact bat. Jorge Mateo is 31 now. Remember when he was the big piece of the Sonny Gray trade? Yeah, that was a weird time. Took her to the O. Not good. All right, third baseman. Alex Bregman has opted out. I just got that notification now. Alex Bregman will hit free agency. Alex Bregman is a Scott Boras client. He will hit free agency. He will test the market. He will take the highest bidder deal, I'd assume, whether it's the Red Sox, whether it's the White Sox, whether it's the Guangdong Tigers. He's probably just going to take the highest bidder money. Alex Bregman had a good year. I'd say a great year if it ended the way it started. The end of his regular season was not very pretty. Like he didn't look good. The last like month or two of the season, he hit to a 6 OPS in the sixes. That's not good. You know, I know 7.7 WAR is very attractive. F-WAR is some BS for making that almost an 8 WAR year. Give me a fucking break. But righties fit Fenway very well. Of course, they always have bang the wall. It's not that deep either to get it over the wall. Alex Bregman might as well just re-sign with the Red Sox, in my opinion. He just seems like a Alex Cora guy. He's played with Alex Cora for years at this point. He's just looking for a big bag. Eugenio, Mariners fans love Eugenio. Does Eugenio love the Mariners? Like, does he like playing in T-Mobile? His numbers have been awful career-wise at T-Mobile Park. It is a hellhole for right-handed hitters. I don't know what to do with Eugenio Suarez because he had a great year. I would actually say, this is my opinion, of course, I would say I would take, I don't know, man. Would you rather have Muncy or Eugenio? I know Eugenio has the sexy numbers with the 40-plus home runs, the 40 ball in the home runs category, but like neither one can play defense, and both of them are strictly power guys. Muncy's more of a walker type. He likes taking his walks more than Eugenio does. Eugenio Suarez had such a weird year just because of the Mariners trade. Right-handed hitters don't do well in Seattle. It's tough. Kike is not a third baseman. That guy was playing left field in the playoffs in the World Series. He had a couple of incredible plays in left field. He might as well just stay with the Dodgers too. Ildy Vargas is here. John Birdie, Yankees legend. Max Muncy is a really good player, and I don't think the Dodgers let him walk. They have no reason to. And Eugenio, the Mariners are probably going to retain him, and I'm not going to like it because I love Eugenio Suarez. I want to see him strive. I want to see big stats. And in Seattle, he has yet to put up any really positive stats. Lourdes Gurriel, I'm pretty sure didn't he tear his ACL? I don't know if he would opt out. Rob Refsnyder, he's a good platoon bat. He hits lefties. Tyler O'Neill also is a platoon bat that hits lefties. Miguel Andujar is a platoon bat that hits lefties. Now, Miguel Andujar had a good run in Cincinnati. He was hitting the ball really well. I think Cincinnati should just run it back. I mean, their team wasn't that good. They made the playoffs, but they weren't like a good team. I'll be honest. They weren't really that good. They made the playoffs, though. Miguel Andujar was a big catalyst for that because he came up big down the stretch, especially after the trade. Only after the trade. He can only come up big for the team he was traded for when he was traded there. It's just really good and clever insight from Matt. Austin Hayes hates the gays. Jesse Winker is cool. I think the Mets missed him dearly down the stretch. Michael Oferforto, Mark Hanna, Tommy Pham, Jesus, man. Travis Jank, the Jank. Alex Verdugo is not getting signed. Chris Taylor almost put up -1 WAR. Holy fuck. Cody Bellinger has opted out of his deal with the Yankees. Dude, I don't know, man. Go get the bag. Go get the bag. I don't know who's going to give it to him, but go get the bag. I hope it's the Yankees because He's so, like, he moves around the outfield well. He can play left, center, right. He can play first base. He's just really reliable out there. He was the best outfield defender the Yankees had last season, I'd say. He has a pretty good arm, too. And on top of that, he had a really good hitting season. He had a bunch of home runs, like almost 30, I'd say. If I had to bet, let's check. Then almost 30, he had 29. What a ballpark god I am. Yeah, Cody Bellinger had a really, really good year. Stole some bases in there, too. Like, CB had a damn good year. Go get a bag. He just opted out as well. I just got that notification as well. So, you know, he's going to get a bag. I hope it's from my Yankees, but if it's not, it was fun having you for 1 year, big fella. You had a really decent season. I like seeing a guy with a shorten up with 2 strikes approach every once in a while. Cody Bellinger is one of them. If you need outfield versatility, if you need a left-handed bat that hits lefties relatively well, it's Cody Bellinger. That's your guy. Harrison Bader's on a mutual option. He played pretty well with the Phillies before the injury, so I would say there's no reason for the Phillies to let him go, especially because like him and Marsh feels like a really decent platoon in center field. I really like that. Brandon Marsh played well down the stretch. I don't know if that's justifiable enough to be like, he's the full-time guy. We don't need Harrison Bader. No, I think they should keep Harrison Bader at all costs, really. Trenty is an interesting one. He's coming off the best year of his life. And it's at a key time. He's 29. He's hitting free agency. He's meant for the Yankees because he's a lefty with that tailored power pull swing, and he doesn't generate a ton of bat speed. He doesn't generate a ton of ball speed. He doesn't really kill the ball like that. So I think he's made for Yankee Stadium, but I don't know if the Yankees really want him back. They want to make Jason Dominguez a feature part of the outfield. If you bring back Bellinger and you bring back Grisham, I don't know how much more featured Jason Dominguez can be. Yeah, it's either going to be Grisham or Bellinger walking. I don't think the Yankees are bringing back both. Personally, I would rather have Cody Bellinger. He's proven, he's more established, and he's a better defensive player than Trent Grisham is. But who knows? Maybe a team like, I don't know, who can gamble on a corner outfielder? Hell, maybe the Astros. You know, you think about it, right field in Houston's not that deep. It's pretty shallow, actually. You could pull in Houston as a lefty, and it'll work. On top of that, he plays decent enough defense, so that way you don't have to play some random guy like Mo Dubon in left field or whatever. Or Jose Altuve doesn't have to play outfield anymore. I actually don't mind that fit. I actually really don't. Cedric Mullins is going anywhere but the Mets. They hate him, Mets fans do. Cedric Mullins... He's a fine player. He's another one. He's like Diet Trent Grisham, except he's older than Trent Grisham. That feels really weird. Cedric Mullins is older than Trent Grisham. I did not realize that. Lou Bobinson. Oh, that's a tough one. Why would the White Sox shell out any extension for Lou Bob? I don't know. I don't think they would. I see a lot of Mets fans saying they want Lou Bob. It's not a bad idea. He has talent. There's talent there. Just you don't know where the water actually sits, you know, because he got really high tide a few years ago when he hit 40 bombs, but then you also got the last 2 years where it's low tide and he's hitting like 180, you know. He's hitting interstate I-90 numbers, you know. It's not pretty. Kyle Tucker is the big fish of free agency. They basically said the Cubs are out on him, which is primo fucking ridiculous. Let me go scorched earth on the Cubs real quick. They are one of the most profitable teams in baseball right now. Easily. Like by far, I believe, in the top like 5 most revenue generated MLB teams. And yet you told us before free agency started that you're not even going to bother with Kyle Tucker. I don't know. Was it Jesse Rogers that said that they were basically out on Tucker? That's just blatantly ridiculous. They turn a shit ton of profit, the Cubs do. Their ownership is swimming in it. And yet they're going to let their biggest trade acquisition, maybe ever, walk for nothing because you don't want to pay him. I get it. The back end of his year was not healthy. He was hurt and he wasn't playing very well. His playoff run wasn't that great either. His playoff numbers aren't that great either. But they need the production from somewhere. They need it. They really do. I mean, this was their best player last season, and they're just going to let him go because they don't feel like paying him. Do you realize how ridiculous that is? Again, they are like top 10 in revenue, top 5 in revenue every year. They're pulling in money. They're the most profitable sports org besides like the Dodgers and Yankees. They are very profitable, and they decide not to spend money. There's no reason why they don't why they aren't repeat champs of the Central. They should be able to spend more money than Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, St. Louis. They should be able to just outspend everyone, Milwaukee even. And they don't. They don't. They're one of the most marketable. Their logo is one of the most easily recognizable. They're in a big market in Chicago where they dominate the market because the White Sox are pitiful. I hate how the Cubs are being run right now. If you let Kyle Tucker walk for nothing, it is stupid as fuck. Yastrzemski, that's a Royal all the way. Corner outfielder and he's cheap. That's a Royal all the way. Ramon Laureano had a great year with the Padres. I don't know why they would let him walk. It sucked he missed the playoffs because they probably would have used him. They would have needed him. They needed him badly. But it sucks he wasn't there, but he had a great run with the Padres, so I don't see why he would even get let go. Here on out, it's just kind of some nasties. Max Kepler wasn't great with the Phillies. Starling Marte's a vibes guy with an awful haircut. Randall Grichuk is a big fly ball guy. Nothing else. Lane Thomas, Jason Hayward, I don't know if anyone cares. Austin Slater got to the Yankees, played like 3 games, pulled his hamstring, and I don't know. He played like 7 games. I don't know. That was interesting. The DH market is definitely interesting. Kyle Schwarber had the best year of his life, maybe. I mean, he's going to be top 3 in MVP, NL MVP voting, and he had like 50 home runs. He had well over 120 RBIs. He had an incredible year. He walks a lot. Sure, he strikes out a lot, but he walks a good amount, and he is just an incredible hitter, one of the most feared in ball. This is the biggest one. I think the Kyle Schwarber signing is really the biggest one that states where the Phillies are at. I know they're saying they don't know if Bryce Harper is going to return to form. Dombrowski has his doubts about Harper, rightfully so. The guy's older now. But if you let Kyle Schwarber walk, I think it doesn't close the window. It literally slams it shut. If Kyle Schwarber ends up leaving the Phillies, it's slamming their window shut. They are done without him. If he ends up leaving, I don't even know why they would keep the core anymore. Can I be honest with you? Why would you keep Turner and Harper if you didn't keep the best hitter of the group? Phillies fans, you get what I mean. It'd be so stupid to just let him walk. Marcell Ozuna was hurt like half the year. We know Marcell Ozuna can bang. If you need a righty that kills the baseball, Ozuna's your guy. He's slow as my grandmother, but at the same time, he hits the ball hard. Jock Peterson had a piss poor year. The Rangers should void it. They should void anything to do with his contract. Like, get him off the payroll. Unless you think he can bounce back, but I don't know. McChicken, you're done. Eloy, that's been done. Pitching-wise, Condor, Chris Sale had a great year. Club option, I'd say they're going to bring him back, even though he has the injury bug and everything like that. He's still really solid. I mean, he won Cy Young 2 years ago, so you're not just going to let him go for nothing. And especially when their rotation was as dinged up as it was last year. Like, if their rotation's healthy, the Braves have a top 7 rotation pretty easily. You know, you're looking at Chris Sale, Spencer Strider when he's right, Spencer Schwellenbach when he's right, Reynaldo Lopez when he's healthy. Grant Holmes played pretty well last year. I feel like I'm forgetting people anyways, and they still have, like, it's a good rotation. Dylan Cease was kind of bad last year. Dylan Cease, it differs between, like, dominant strikeout guy and hittable meatball merchant every year. The last 3 years. His last year in Chicago wasn't great, but his first year in San Diego was terrific, and now his second year in San Diego was a step backwards. Dylan Cease is interesting. I think the Padres should bring him back anyways, though, because they don't have reliable pitchers. They don't. I like Nick Pivetta, don't get me wrong. He did relatively well this year, but Nick Pivetta and Mike King is basically it. Darvish has fallen off. It's clear as day. He's old. Darvish has kind of fallen off a little bit. Nestor Cortez and who was the A's? JP Sears they brought in. Those aren't real rotational guys. I know Dylan Cease was bad last year, but if your answer was, if you have question marks in your rotation and you answer that by saying, let's let Dylan Cease walk for nothing, I don't know if that's a good choice. Amber Valdez is the best ground ball pitcher maybe in baseball, and he's an innings eater, like a king innings eater. This is a guy that's perfect for a team with injuries, maybe like a Braves team. Someone that struggles with injuries like Reynaldo Lopez, Spencer Strider, Chris Sale. You know, you needed a reliable guy that can hit 190 plus innings a year. That's Framber Valdez. Ranger Suarez won't be a Philly. I'll damn near guarantee that. And it'll be interesting to see his market, a team that needs a lefty. He's another ground ball heavy guy. I really like Ranger Suarez a lot. It sucks. I don't think the Phillies are going to bring him back because he is incredible. And who's a team that needs a lefty? Who is a team that really needs a lefty? Maybe the Mariners. I don't know about that one. I don't know. I'm thinking of a team that needs a lefty. The Mariners don't really have many lefties. You think about it, Gilbert's a righty. Castillo's a righty. Woo's a righty. Miller's a righty, I believe. You need a lefty in the rotation. Guess what? Ranger Suarez is pretty fucking good. Maybe he's a Padre. They need a lefty. Michael King's a righty. And so's Yu Darvish. Maybe they bring him in. I don't know. Whoever needs a lefty ground ball pitcher, Ranger Suarez is pretty damn good at that. Hack Flaherty was bad last year. He had his moments. He pitched really well in the CS out of the bullpen. Saved their bacon a couple of times, but he was not great in the regular season. Should be interesting to see what his market is. Freddie P had a good year, a really good year. He's a strikeout heavy guy, strikeout dominance, throws hard. I really like Freddie Peralta. I think the Brewers should just bring him back. You're on a club option. There's no reason not to. He was the ace last year. They need him. Martinez is a fun player. He had a really good year a few years ago. He had an all right year last year. Not as good. Decent, though. He can do long relief. He can do spot starts if you want him to. He can do one-inning relief. Very malleable, very valuable in the bullpen. He's like a utility guy almost because he can start games, he can do long relief, and he can do bullpen. He can do, high-leverage bullpen if you really need him to. Nick Martinez is a fun little player because he can mix and match and just go anywhere on the pitching staff. Chris Bassett pitched really well in the playoffs as a relief option. Didn't do half bad. I don't know I think the Toronto Blue Jays would want him back. A depth piece. He could be a fourth starter. A solid 4 starter is not bad. Michael King's WAR is so low because he was hurt. If the Padres don't bring him back, they'd be dumb. He was the best pitcher on their roster behind Nick Pivetta. And, they're desperate. The Padres need starting pitching. Michael King is disgusting. They need him. Shota as a club/player option. I think they should just bring him back. A lefty, he got touched in the playoffs. He did get touched. But he had an all right regular season. Not bad. Zach Gallen's market is interesting. He had some good starts in the back half. You're going to look at Zach Gallen's season stats and probably see some uglies. Let's look at it. Hold on. You look at the season stats, you see an 89 ERA plus a 4.83 ERA over 192 innings. But you check the last few starts, and I don't think they were that bad down the stretch. Hold on. 7 inning 3 earned. Here's a 6 inning 1 earned. 6 2/3 5 earned. But it's still 6 2/3. I mean, he 8 innings. 6 innings no earned. 6 innings no earned. 6 innings 1 earned. 6 innings 3 earned. 5 for 3. 6 for 1. 6 for 2. Those aren't bad outings down the stretch. He gets bogged down horrendously by 6 innings 6 earned. 4 2/3 5 earned. 5 innings 6 earned. These early starts, 10 hits and a 7 earned run game against the Rockies. But you look later in the season, and it looked like he got a little bit better. He went 6 in almost every start for the last month. I mean, if you see that right there, he had one start that wasn't 6 innings up until the last game of the year where he only went 4 1/3, but it didn't really matter anymore. They were out of the playoffs. All that to say, I'm a Zach Gallen guy. I kind of believe in him to an extent. I definitely believe in him a little bit. Zach Littell's not bad. Pat Corbin threw well for the Rangers last year. He threw innings like he always does. Verlander, goodbye. The rest of these, there's not a ton of options here. Lucas Giolito showed some signs, but he is still just a fastball-heavy pitcher, and if you can hit a fastball, you can hit Lucas Giolito. Pretty rude there, but still. Mutual option for B. Woody. I don't know, man. He is just a hurting unit. He's a hurting unit, but he doesn't cost a ton, so why wouldn't you bring him back for the Brewers? Innings eater Tyler Anderson does a good job for you. John Gray. Frankie Montas was terrible. Terrible. Shane Bieber, he might come back. He had all right run in Toronto, even though I think he allowed a tank. I think he was one of them. And so he had decent run, though. He had some decent starts. Shane Bieber looked pretty damn sharp in some games for the Blue Jays. Griffin Canning might as well go back to the Mets. The Mets, he did really well there. Stroman's terrible. Max Scherzer, I don't know what he's going to do. I don't even want to predict that one. Is there relief pitchers? There is. Edwin Diaz and Robert Suarez have already opted out. Edwin Diaz is interesting. He had a terrific year again coming off of that ACL tear. I think he is one of the 5 best closers in ball right now. He's been dominant for the latter half of 4 years now. And Edwin Diaz is just a really good pitcher. You know, the Mets need him back because you saw how their bullpen outside of him was last year. It was really bad in some aspects. You know, you get Rogers in, he pitches all right, but then Helsley's god-awful, and you're relying on, what the fuck's his name? Not Phil Maton. I'm thinking about the big Ryan Stanek. Ryan Stanek threw a lot of innings for them. You know, they need a stabilizer, a real big out guy like Edwin Diaz at the back end. Robert Suarez did opt out. The Padres super pen kind of fell apart, and it wasn't his fault. They were really worked hard down the stretch of the season because their starters were awful. But Robert Suarez is very unhittable. Like he's hard to hit. He throws 100 consistently. He's got nasty wipeout sliders. Robert Suarez is disgusting. Really hard to gauge because like all these guys had pretty damn good years. Even Andres Munoz has a club option, which I don't know why. They probably just bring him back. He had a really good closing season as well. Ryan Helsley, his market's going to be tough. Going to be a tough sell. Devin Williams is going to be a tough sell. I could see the Yankees bringing him back. He had some fun run down the stretch. Was our most consistent reliever in some times down the stretch too. Besides Bednar, D-Bed was amazing. But Devin Williams struggled for a good portion of the season, so that's interesting. See if there's anyone else here that really interests me. Pete Fairbanks throws gas, but he's on an option, so I don't see him leaving. Luke Weaver coming off a really, really bad year. Don't know what his market looks like. Jakob Yunis coming off a really good year. Should have an interesting market. Emilio Pagan. I said him and Miguel Andujar were the two biggest free agents for the Reds. Pagan saved like over 20 games this year. He had some good run in Detroit. Dang, there's a lot of relievers hitting free agency. Sir Anthony Dominguez had some good run in Toronto as well in the playoffs. He looked relatively sharp. When he wasn't walking 100 people, he looked really good. Tim Jim, love Tim Jim. Jorge Lopez, Shelby Miller. Like, these are all right relief options. I'm pretty sure AJ Minter is exercising his option and staying. So there's some all right options in here. Talk to me down in the comments about some players that you would want to see your favorite team sign. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to catch you again. See you guys in the next one.